the large part of the buffer goes to the front, locks in. So reassemble barrel, let it go in the battery, large side of the buffer. Now it won't fall out, and again, Taurus, their guide sits inside the frame, and it actually sits up against the frame itself, right in here, instead of riding on the barrel, which is the way a lot of them do. The barrel is more or less free floating. I hold on the bottom because I'm afraid that that's going to fall. It's going to fall off. And you can see how easy it is to move until it gets in there. And then once you get it in there, let it go all the way back, and then it locks it in. And then again, firearm's clear. I'm going to actually pull the trigger on this to check it. Now Taurus, all of their firearms have what they call strike 2 capability. Like your 1911s in this state right here with the hammer forward, they're a single action. A 1911, you can't pull the trigger. You have to cock it in order to pull the trigger on a 1911. Well, a lot of your firearms, if you cock it, and then you decock it, you can pull the trigger, double single, you can pull the trigger and it'll fire. Taurus has what they call strike 2. Once you fire a lot of the firearms, you can't pull the trigger again and try and fire it again. Like if you have a slow primer, they say, I think it was 87% of the time, 80, somewhere around in there, 70, 80, whatever, your chances are greater that you're able to hit it the second time, or you pull the trigger and it'll strike it the second time and it'll actually fire. And I've had that to where, and it works. And it's a whole lot quicker than having to rack the slide and trying, if you're in a panic situation and you pull the trigger and that round doesn't go off, and you're able to pull the trigger again and it go off. To me, that's just, and with it being as high of a percentage as it is that it'll fire after hitting it the second time is awesome. You see the slide catch, safety, decocker, which it won't decock with it, the hammer up, and then your magazine release. Everything is exactly the same. Magazine release, slide catch, safety, decocker. So that's by it being completely ambidextrous, whatever's on one side is on the other. A lot of firearms, they claim to be ambidextrous because they have a safety that's on both sides. Where if you want the magazine release, I'll have it over here, but if you want it over here, you have to take it apart and move it over here. Well, that's fine and dandy if I'm left-handed only shooter. But if I'm in a situation to where I can't use my right hand and I have to be able to function the firearm without using my left or my right hand, now without having that magazine release right here, now I'm trying to hit it with my middle finger over here, like what a lot of left-handed people do, where versus it being here, that's just an automatic, is to hit it with your thumb. Everything that you do is with your thumb. And same thing with it on your left. Everything is right there, thumb access. and it won't cock with it with safety on. Yeah, Taurus has a nice thumb rest here. Yeah, their grip, it's got a nice, the back strap. It's a nice wide grip. Yeah, it's the size of my hand. Put a magazine in there. I mean, I like the way it feels, and it's not for everybody. And I tell everybody that I talk to about them, you know, I tell them, I'm like, you have to go and put a multitude of firearms in your hand until you find what's comfortable for you. You know, what's comfortable for me, it's not comfortable for you, for say, or whoever. You know, but I just don't. People will pass on Taurus because, you know, in the 80s they had a bad name for them. Everybody was like, oh, they're pieces of junk, blah blah blah. You know, I think that they are compromisable to the big names in the market right now. You know, I mean, it's no Kimber or anything like that by any means. You know, it's no XDM or anything, or XD Pro. It's not a high point, I can tell you that right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, y'all have any questions, do's, don'ts? Didn't like my video? Whatever y'all want to tell me, go right ahead. And I know I'm gonna get some Taurus haters out there and be like, oh, I don't care. You know, if you've never fired one, never had one in your hand, you can't say that, you know, it's a bad firearm. And that's just, there again, that's just my opinion. You know, you got the people out there that Smith & Wesson is the only firearm, blah blah blah. Oh, and that was another thing. You notice how deep how rounded the trigger guard is? That works well for one, people with big fingers, but also if you have gloves on, you can watch how far the trigger goes back. So if you have a glove on, you have all that room right there with a glove that you can work the trigger. And you can carry it just like that, because then it's just like a 1911. And if you don't need that room, then you know, you can decock it and then you have a full trigger pull. But yep, thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll be seeing each other soon again.